Yeah, so I'm on oxy coding for this podcast legally. So I feel
As
like it's
opposed to normally when you're illegally on it.
Yeah. I have to take the legal amounts that they give you, which instead of the street amounts that I buy. But yeah, so I went to hospital and they were like, it's such a mess. They're like, why didn't you get the checkup before? And I'm like, well, I'm waiting on you for that. You're the one meant to book me in. Like, I don't make hospital bookings on behalf of the hospital. Like,
sure. Yeah,
I was here, you gave the thing, and then they're like, and multiple people came in and were like, yeah, why didn't you come in for the other one? And I'm like, because you didn't schedule one. And they're like, oh. And then they look all confused and like, then they ask you what's being done and everything, and like are asking questions about what happened last time and whatever. And it's like, I'm not a doctor. You have a system in front of you that tells you whatever. I don't know any medical terms, so like I'm just making up whatever and I'm piecing it together from I don't even know what.
Yeah.
And they're so overrun that so like afterwards, I didn't speak to anyone. So there's a nurse, but the nurse, all they do is like they help you, they like get you food or like help you get in and out of the bed. They actually have no idea what surgery or any information on it. So if you ask them any questions, they can't answer. And yet this is the only time they tell you about what happened. And then the next time you come in, they're like, so what happened last time? You're like, well, I don't know. And then they're acting weird that you don't know the answer to their questions. And even in like more detail, like a couple of times. So firstly, I'm on like these crazy medications that they're giving me where I don't even know where I am barely because I'm like completely out of it. And they're asking me like in-depth medical, like advanced shit, like, oh, has this happened or whatever? And I'm like, I have no idea what you're talking about. And
yeah, it sounds like a nice, relaxing experience when you're, going through a stressful situation. Let's just ask questions that you couldn't possibly know the answer to.
Yeah, and then it was so bad. So like, I went into the emergency because I felt pain and whatever, and I'm like, oh, this is bad. Like, I have to go in, and then yeah, I'd been waiting for like the next thing for like over a year when they were supposed to do it, and they were all like, oh, you were supposed to come in like after 6 months. Why wasn't that happening? And then I'm like, well, yeah, you guys never did anything. But anyway, so I'm there, and they didn't have any like. I basically, they put me into the fast track area, which is like supposedly the more serious emergency things because I was in a lot of pain. And they put me on what was essentially like a dentist's chair. So it was like you could lay back on it, but it wasn't like even a hospital bed. It was like a shitty. I would say it would be like a crappy business class seat. Like if you got that in business class, you'd be upset. Like it wasn't long enough for my legs to fully lay out and whatever. So I'm just there. And then like they're like, oh yeah, we're gonna try to operate on you today. And then they're like, oh, so don't eat and whatever. And then at some point randomly, it must have been like 11 o'clock. They're like, actually, no, you can eat. We're not gonna be able to do it today. So eat, but you have to fast from 12. So I essentially had a day and a half's worth of meals in that 1 hour. Then I hear them talking to like one of the other nurses, and they're like, the woman's like, oh, can you work overtime tonight? And then the woman's like, oh, how does that work? And like she'd never done it or something. And the manager woman literally said to her, just do the bare minimum. I'm not expecting you to do much. And then she even was like going around telling people like, yeah, there's not going to be many people around here. So if you need anything, you're going to have to hit the buzzer and whatever, because no one's going to really come around and check. So, but then like, because I went out of my way to be like very friendly, and also there was a 6-hour time frame that I counted where no one spoke to me, came and checked on me or anything. So if anything had happened, like it's all reliant on me. And the only time anything did happen is because like I saw the woman walking past and they had like oh, I'm blanking on the name. It's not like a door or anything because I wasn't in an actual room. It was just like a sheet. And in between the two sheets, there was like a gap. So I could see randomly if people walk past. And at one point she walks past. I'm like, hey. And then she came in and checked on me. And then that was the only point that then, and I asked for food because I'm like, I'm starving and thirsty. And like, it literally been 6 hours with nothing. And then she's like, oh yeah, do you want anything or whatever? And then a doctor came in after that. So it seemed like they'd almost forgotten that I was there. Yep. All very reassuring stuff.
Yep. I had a similar experience in hospital about 2 years ago, just over 2 years ago. And I went in at like 3 o'clock in the afternoon to the emergency room, and they were like, just take a seat, we'll be with you soon. And the soon was 11 p.m. that night. And I was like, are you fucking serious? And I went in. When I went in, I thought I was dying. Like, I was like, something is wrong. I just can't explain to you how much pain I'm in, all this sort of stuff. And they were like, okay, take a seat. We'll see you soon. Like, they saw me within half an hour and then they were like, okay, take a seat outside. They gave me literally like the most basic off the shelf prescription or non-prescription painkillers. And we're like, just we'll be with you in just a few minutes. And that was like 8 hours later. So yeah, fuckers.
Systems are so bad. It's just, messed up.
You know, on TV here, we get lots of adverts for go to Victoria to work in the medical system, to work in like the best hospitals in the world, and be like, use your whatever your healthcare qualifications in Victoria. I was like, they're all over the place. Like every time
I am getting Facebook ads to go work in New South Wales, the other state. And you get $10,000. It literally says in the thing, $10,000 to move here and $10,000 extra a year bonus just for every year that you stay.
Nice. I would do it. It sounds good.
Yeah. I mean, it seems like it'd be. It's probably a shit job because they are so overrun that like.
Yeah.
They literally said at one point while I was in there, I overheard them because again, So I went in there, had surgery, everything, never actually went into a hospital bed or a ward.
Wow.
So I sat in this waiting area. It's not like the waiting area, but it's like the internal waiting area would be the only way you would. Yeah. So I had to sleep there overnight. And then they come in the morning and they're like, okay, you're gonna have surgery, and whatever. And these two people also behind them had come in to like take me, and we're gonna get some bed or something to roll me up to wherever the surgery thing is. And the woman then goes and stands at the computer next to it, and literally 30 seconds later, while she's standing there, another guy comes in and is like, oh no, he's not doing it anymore. It's not him. They've changed it, whatever. And then she's like, oh, okay. And then he's like, oh yeah, I'm sorry. Like, this is from up above. Things got changed. And then they go and they leave and whatever. And then, so I'm still laying there in the same non-bed. Like, again, when I say it's literally like a dentist chair, like, not wide enough to even move slightly and not long enough for my legs. So like very uncomfortable. Even if you're like feeling normal, it's uncomfortable, let alone the fact that you're in crazy pain. And then, so anyway, then like 10 minutes later, there's a guy there who's just standing there on his phone. And then he's just standing there for like 5 minutes. And then another woman walks past, and then like, he's in scrubs and got the head thing on and even on his shoes, but he's just standing there on his phone. And then a woman walks past and he's like, yeah, I need to take him up. And then they're like, oh, okay. And then so they're like, oh yeah, get your stuff and we'll go up. And I'm like, oh, okay. And then I'm like, oh, how do we go up there? And he's like, oh, well, you're probably going to have to walk unless we have a thing, which again, normally they like wheel you through wherever. But anyway, so he walks me up. We get up there and then there's another woman. He then finds a bed. And for some reason, he gets me on that bed and then rolls it to like 3 things down, even though it's in the same area. But for whatever reason, I get on the bed, then he rolls that bed over to 3 things down. And then he talks to what must be his manager or whatever. And then she goes, oh, he's not meant to be doing it now. And so like they'd fucked up and I was not meant to come back up. But I got lucky that because they did that, then the woman's like, oh, okay, we'll see what we can do. And none of these conversations are like with me. They're all like a meter away from me that I'm hearing because there's no privacy there. But yeah, you hear everything. And then they're eventually like, okay, yeah, just wait there. So I waited there for like an hour. And then they brought me in. And then the woman who was like the anesthetic or whatever was like, oh, the other thing that I didn't mention as well is, so when I came in, before even the waiting for 5 hours and all that kind of stuff, they put one of those things in the arm where they're going to put the drip in. And the guy who did it was like, yeah, we'll do this because you haven't eaten. And because I didn't eat at all before that either. Because I knew I was sick. I'm like, I shouldn't eat or drink anything because if that way they can operate on me. Yeah. Whereas if you had anything, they have to wait. Anyway, so I go in there. They do that, and the guy's like, oh, yeah, because you haven't had anything, we need to put this in there to give you stuff because, fluids and whatever. So that had sat in there for over 12 hours. Over 18 hours at this point, unused because no one ever bothered to actually use the thing. So I'm like, what the hell? Like, the guys put the thing in there unnecessarily, and it's annoying and painful. It's it just is annoying. It's not too painful, but you don't need the. It
annoys you. Yeah, you're always like moving, and it's like, oh shit, and it drives you insane.
Yeah. I mean, it's okay, like if they're putting stuff in there, but if it's just there, it's just and for no reason because they're just like, oh yeah, we have no idea what we're doing. But then, fortunately, they used that one thing in there, but. They could have not put it in for 18 hours and I wouldn't have had that like annoying thing to deal with as yet another annoying thing to deal with. Yeah. And then, which also I'm getting sidetracked, but there's another whole crazy twist to all this. So anyway, then the woman goes and uses that for the anesthetic thing. And she's like telling me, oh yeah, actually we weren't meant to do this. We were like meant to finish, but because they stuffed up, like we're doing you before we finish. So because they'd stuffed up and brought me up there, even though they weren't meant to, they actually got me in and did it. And I'd heard them talk about how like the entire hospital had no free beds because they had so many people in there. So if they didn't get me in then, they may not have even got me in the next day, which then means who knows how long I would have just been laying there for no reason.
It's crazy.
And at one point I even asked them like, oh, can I just go? Like, do I need to stay here? Like, if I'm just going to wait here and not have anything, why don't I just sleep in an actual bed, also in pain and not doing anything? But anyway, so overnight they came because they were going to do the surgery the first day. They thought they're like, oh, we need to do a COVID test. So they did the COVID test in preparation for the surgery. And then in the middle of the night, a random woman comes in and wakes me up and she's like, have you had COVID recently? I'm like, no. And then she's like, well, your test came back as undetermined. And so therefore we have to do more tests. So then they're like, and whatever. And they seem to think that I might have COVID. And I'm like, oh, well, I haven't had symptoms. I'd actually done a test a couple of days before because I'd gone to visit my grandfather. When where he is, they have tests and I had negative. So I knew I hadn't had it before either. And then, so then they do that. She comes and does it. I fall asleep and I'm like, yeah, it's nothing. An hour later, she comes back and she's like, unfortunately, they printed your name. The label they printed with your name on it got cut off. And so they won't accept the test. You're going to have to do another test. And they did 2 tests. So when they redid it, they did like multiple versions of the test. So I ended up doing 5 COVID tests to check if I had COVID, which I didn't.
It sounds like they're extremely well organized.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, such a mess.
Like how could you? I don't know. There's definitely some just incompetency going on there. But hey,
yeah, I mean, it's
only people's health and lives that you're looking after. You don't need to be on top of things and making sure everything's okay. And
let's just rely on people on heavy medication to tell us what their medical situation is, even though it's on our system on the computer that's right there.
Yeah, exactly. There's no need to rely on computers when you can ask the person who's drugged up what's going on, because they're the more reliable. So yeah.
And another thing I love is that so they give you a form that says you're not allowed to drive a car or whatever medical terms, and like don't sign contracts or conduct business. But at the same time, they make you sign off on doing the surgery, so you have to sign off on the thing. And even multiple times when they did it, like so I had 2 different people go through this paperwork thing with me, and they both were telling me to sign in the wrong spot. I'm like, well, that says doctor's signature, not the patient. And they're like, oh, okay. And then like I had another woman run through it and she's like, is that your signature? And it said the doctor thing. And I just said, yeah. But like she'd pointed to the wrong spot as well. And
well,
yeah.
All right. Well, you've learned your lesson not to be putting your penis inside certain animals. And now hopefully you won't do it anymore. But, we'll be back here again. We know we will.
Next week's.
Yeah. Well, man, that's a crappy experience to go through. But thankfully, you survived, got through it all. Made people do overtime to do your surgery for you. And all that stuff.
No, they didn't do it for that. It was for their doing the bare minimum, as the manager put it, in the overnight thing.
That's true. Yeah. I mean, look, you can't really ask a whole lot more. The bare minimum. What do I have to do? Nothing really. Just be here. Don't let anyone die. That's the thing. But yeah, Jesus. Yeah,
it's very reassuring.
So your review out of 5 stars would be probably because you're on drugs. I think about 7.
Just 6.5,
Oh, nice.
And I actually have no idea. I have not been told and could not tell you what they did to me. So I can only assume based on what they did. They said it towards the start, but like no one spoke to me afterwards. So they could literally have like given me a penis enlargement surgery, and I wouldn't know because
I mean that is what you went in for. So that was
yes.
Oh yeah. It's an emotional pain, I feel, not a physical one.
I want it confirmed, damn it. I can't measure yet.
Yeah, I mean, dude, that's a crazy story though. I mean, just like from everything from being left for 6 hours to being woken up to do a COVID test, to like just having no food and the thing in your arm for 18 hours, like it's just completely crazy. So
yeah, especially like when you're sick and like the last thing you want is any of this crap.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You just feel like, as well, like hospitals aren't exactly the funnest place to be. So you're like, I just want to go home, die in front of my TV or something to be fine.
Yeah. Oh, that actually does remind me. Somehow that made me think of taking selfies and being excited in a hospital and like being the new influencer spot. But at one point, I'm fairly certain that I heard a woman being rolled into the surgery and they asked her what she does, and she said OnlyFans.
Nice.
And I'm pretty sure like the doctor was asking like, oh, is that fun, and does it pay as well as they make out to be?
All right. You should have run in, got an interview, been like, I know I'm in pain, but I need to talk to this woman for a minute. Should have had her on the podcast.
Well, yeah, there's also like the other part of it is who would even say that? Like, even if you are that, you would be like.
That's what I tell people all the time. They're like, what do you do? I'm on OnlyFans. Make a fortune. Yeah. That'd be. Imagine all of the information that doctors get, like when they talk to people like that. It's like, so, you do OnlyFans, great. So what's your URL? What's the? How do I find your page?
Well, I mean, the other thing is they're also knocking you out of drugs, and you're going to be there lying while they operate. Like,
yeah.
I mean, it's got to be very awkward. Like, and I was literally thinking this as I was like in the anesthetics thing of like, imagine being the doctor, male, female, whatever, and like you're operating on someone who's super attractive. Like, one, it's going to put you off all day when you deal with like a 95-year-old with who, as soon as you take the gown off, you get a whiff of their smelly balls.
Somebody, one of the nurses, please clean this patient's balls.
But then you've got the attractive OnlyFans model.
Yeah.
That your job requires you to literally touch all over.
Yeah, but you don't have to go over it 3 or 4 times. Just the once will be fine. Yes. Also, you don't have to be naked when you're doing the surgery. I don't know what's going on, but yeah, it would be. I guess they do run into that all the time. They're like, oh, this. I've seen this chick naked. Oh, she's naked again. Oh. Yeah, doctors are just people, But yeah,
they are, which means that like I know what I think. So clearly, like these people have got to be having wild thoughts.
I mean, they probably have a test in medical training to make sure they're not just like you. So it's called the James test.
It's the erection test. They all have to line up. Today we're all going to be.
If that 95-year-old comes in, are you going to be able to keep yourself, just on point, keeping your focus, or are you going to be distracted by the smell of balls? So, yeah.
I like to think of it like a reality show where like the next top doctor, and they'd So one week they have the 95-year-old, and they're filming. They have a camera below the chest, and the doctor has to. The doctor has to wear no pants, and they're scientifically measuring penis size throughout the operation, and they're like, whoever can get the hardest through the 95-year-old this week is our competition winner, and they are immune from elimination. Then the next week they have the reverse, and it's whoever can stay flaccid through operating on a 25-year-old OnlyFans model.
I mean, that's certainly a challenge. The first one, I think nobody is approved this week. You're all up for elimination, unless there's one guy who's like, no, this is my thing, and the next week he's like, yeah, not into that either. so yeah, that'd be a fun one.
But then also it's like these weird areas that people have to specialize in. Like, who's choosing to operate on asses?
I mean, probably a lot of people.
No, but like you're never getting one that's in good condition. So essentially, if that is your thing, right, that's going to put you off forever.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah. I guess there must be a lot of money in it. That's why they're like,
there would be, yeah, but like still, if you get to the level where you can choose to specialize in operating on dirty asses, I think that you could probably also like do arms or legs or
just anything else really. Just any other part of the body would be fine. Yeah. Yeah, it's I mean, I guess there must be a reason why people choose it. Actually, that's a very good question. Why do people choose that as their specialty? What's going on?
Let's add this to my Google history. Why do people specialize in ass doctory?
It's the official title of it.
I don't know. It's all why you should visit it. Oh yeah, but it is on Quora. So the surgeries are mostly fun and challenging too. Someone says.
Okay. What you get up to today? Well, I had a really fun surgery on someone's arse. There must be days when it puts you off eating and you're like, no, just can't eat today.
Well, this is the thing with all of it. Like, even if you, I don't know, say you really like penis and you become a penis enlargement doctor, you're going to deal with a lot that'll put you off. Like,
yeah, every time you look at a penis, you have to then wonder, did you or someone like you, extend its length and check it out? Yeah, there'd be an awful lot of penises for sure.
So I asked ChatGPT, why do people specialize in ass doctory? And it responded, I'm sorry, but that statement is inappropriate and offensive. I cannot provide a response to it. Please refrain from making inappropriate or offensive comments.
All right, then. All right. Snowflake GPT.
Yeah, I mean, that's messed up. I have to put it in the medical term and let's see if it... Why do people choose to be a proctologist? It's thinking. It's thinking very hard about this.
Okay, cool.
Now, why would ChatGPT find that offensive? I think that's actually very offensive of ChatGPT to put down proctologists.
I do think it has overreacted to the word arse. To be honest, I think it's probably programmed to find that word offensive.
It says that people specialize in proctology for various reasons. Proctology is a special... Yeah, we know what it is. They find this field of medicine fascinating and challenging and may be drawn to it because they enjoy working with patients to diagnose and treat these conditions. Others may be motivated by the potential to make a difference in patients' lives by improving their health and well-being.
I don't see it. To me, it's either a financial or a sexual thing, and I think they would regret both. They'd be like, oh, I could have been a penis enlargement doctor. Why did I do this? Yeah.
It is also weird to be like, I have an ass issue. I want the best ass doctor, but then therefore I want someone who's excited and dedicated to their job, right? That's actually a good hypothetical question. I don't know if you've seen people do the street interviews where they ask people these like thought-provoking questions, but I want to ask people, if you had to have your ass operated on, would you rather a doctor who is just obsessed with asses, but he's going to do the best job because they are dedicated to the ass. Mm-hmm. Or one who just chose the field for the money?
I mean, the one who's like, you know, passionate about arses, he's going to do the best job. So that's what you want. So yeah, let him away. So the guy who's in it for the money is just going to be like, you know, put you on the conveyor belt, fix your arse up for a minute, and then on to the next one. So yeah, definitely the passionate guy. Presume all of these doctors are going to be male, by the way. So all the women are like, no, I'm going to specialize in something a little bit less disgusting. But thankfully, I mean, you know, people have problems with their backsides that they need sorted out. So yeah.
I mean, I think you want one who's going to have a wank afterwards. Because they're so proud of their job and they're like, there is no way I'm stuffing this up.
Yeah, that's true.
I think the better way to word it is, do you want a doctor, if you say you need to get your ass operated on and it's life or death, do you want a doctor who's excited to go home either for, one, for their new Lamborghini, or two, because they're going to wank because they're so excited about the job they did?
Well, I guess because of the excitement for the job they're going to do, I'm going to say the second one. But yeah, I also hadn't thought of it that way. It's a new way of thinking about which doctor to choose that I hadn't thought of before.
I think it's important as well when you go into hospital to ask these questions of your doctor. Now, before we operate, they do allow you to ask questions. So before we operate, you
have any questions for me? Oh, yes, I do.
Treat it like, can I get some references? Can I see some of your previous ask work? But sir, you're in here for a dental fill-in. I don't care. I want to see what you've done with an ass.
When was the last time you inappropriately interacted with a client or a patient during a surgery? And if the answer is not recently, then we're not moving on.
Yes. And obviously there is no, I've never done this, because if you haven't, this conversation is over. And
if you haven't, this is your first surgery and we're not having, we all know what happens, you know, it's all good. Yeah. Oh man.
There was an interesting video of a guy asking questions like these on anyway, his question was, would you rather have sex with your mom with your girlfriend's brain or your girlfriend with your mom's brain?
No. No.
It's generally such a good question. Like it's
yeah, I don't either of those things. That's not good. We can just move on past that one. Thanks. So many issues.
Yeah, the other day I was also watching Netflix have a documentary on the MH370 things. And one thing that I found very interesting in this documentary is they go through theories of what could have happened. And one of them is the idea that there's an onboard IT room essentially in on the plane. And they're like, oh, it couldn't have been this because you can't fly the plane essentially through that. Whether that's true or not is also possibly up for debate. But they do kind of say, oh yeah, well, to do that, all you have to do is lift up this piece of carpet and lift this latch in business class. And I'm sitting there watching this going, are you not just telling everyone who has a Netflix account how easy it is to just access, and maybe you can't fly the plane, but if you get into that room, you can shut off all their sensors. And the theory was that, they would be able to then shut off communication to the outside world. Well, yeah, way to just put on Netflix. This is how you go, and here's someone lifting up the carpet, and here's the latch, and here's someone inside the room. And it's like, well, that's very reassuring.
Yeah, absolutely. Like that's, you don't want that information out there, even as a passenger. Great. Now I'm going to be, every time I'm on a plane, be watching people if they're trying to lift the carpet. Oh no. So yeah.
I'm going to sneak in there for the Mile High Club.
Thanks, Netflix.
Yeah, I mean, the whole thing is absurd that they're like, oh, yeah, this. And then it's like, well, have you not thought about the fact that you're literally saying that there's no lock or anything on this? And the guy's theory was, they created a disturbance, like a passenger like has an issue or whatever, and then so the flight attendants are busy. It's like, yeah, well, that's not very hard to do. And then therefore someone just has to go into where the toilet area is. There is just a piece of carpet and a latch, and you're in where all the communications and the whole IT of the plane runs.
Yeah, that's not reassuring at all. It's actually quite terrifying.
Yeah.
All right, next time I need to go somewhere, I guess I'm going on a boat. I don't want to end up on a missing plane that no one knows where it is. There you go.
Well, they were like, well, you can't. They threw out the theory as to that is what happened to the plane, because you can't. They said you can't fly the plane from there, but the theory came from the fact that you can actually switch off the signals to communicate and stuff. So if you are and you can like change all the oxygen mask and all that kind of stuff. So essentially, you can make it so that turn off all the signals to the outside world and turn off the oxygen, so everyone on board is dead and the plane can't communicate, and also the pilots don't get their oxygen. So you can't fly the plane, but you can essentially take over the plane very easily, and they walk you through how one could do it.
Yeah, I'd rather nobody had that information, to be honest. Rather it wasn't on a Netflix documentary.
Yeah, I mean,
you go.
Just hopefully no one who wants to like take over a plane watches Netflix.
I'm pretty sure they don't. It's one of the questions when you sign up. Do you have any intentions of hijacking a plane? If you say yes, they're like, you can't be a Netflix member. Sorry.
But they're gonna like molest you on going through all the security and everything.
Yeah. And literally they've provided information that you don't need anything on the plane. You just open a latch and there you go. You have access to all the controls that can turn off everything and kill everybody.
Yeah. So like, yeah, why worry about like trying to sneak on liquids or whatever when you have this? And yeah, the whole thing is like, oh yeah, there's just a piece of carpet, and you lift up that piece of carpet, and underneath there is a latch. And you lift up the latch, and then you can climb straight in.
Yep.
And that's where like all the brains of the plane are sitting there.
Yep, that's what you want. That's all right. I'm glad you told me this like a couple of weeks before my next plane trip. Super. I'm not going to be sitting there paranoid the whole time. It's fine.
Just as long as there's no like commotion and someone walks up and goes and stands there and
anyone just standing around in the business class cabin, I'm gonna be like, what are you doing? You need to move on, brother. Keep going. Like, I'm just looking for something. You can fucking look somewhere else. So yeah,
I did actually find that there's an article where someone had written that will they actually address the vulnerability beneath the carpet of the 777.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, and then even in this article, it talks about, oh, yeah, you have to worry about like having your phones off and whatever. Meanwhile, Yeah, there's a
It's super easy to get to room that can kill all the passengers on the plane. That sounds good. Uh, yeah. Well done, Boeing. Damn it.
yeah, it's only called the Airplane Management Information Management System that you have access to, and it's basically like an IT server with all the brains of the aircraft, as they call it. So
Yep. That's what you want access to. That's all good. Yeah, brilliant. Oh man.
So it does say that the vulnerability seems to exist on some 777s, 767s, and 747s. As other models, so some models have a lock, or the panel is located inside the flight deck.
Okay.
So it's like, only some of the planes in the era have the server room of the plane. Like, even if you go to like some cheap, crappy business, they have a lock of some kind on their server.
Yeah.
You can't just walk in and.
So when I'm on a plane in a couple of weeks' time, I have to, before we take off, I have to call the flight attendant and be like, "Can you tell me how to get into the server room? Because if this is one of the planes where it's in the business class, I'm not happy. I want it to be, yeah."
No, I think what you're better to do is when you get on board, just walk around, look for the carpet, kick it up, and then
Oh, this is where the brains of the plane is. If someone wanted to, I see right here. Yeah, okay. Just mark an X on that if you don't mind. Yeah.
Now it does say that some airlines have bolted a latch on the room. But not because of security concerns, but due to incidents where employees would fall down the hatch when someone else was inside doing maintenance.
Perfect. Not for safety reasons, no, just because somebody fell down at once. Not for passenger safety. God damn it.
Yeah, so the 787 has it, but they put in a special tool that's required to open it.
Okay.
So as long as no one dangerous gets one of those tools, you're fine.
Yeah, as long as you're not on
3D
AliExpress and like looking up tool for opening airplane, which they probably have because they have fucking everything.
I mean, all you would need is like to see the thing, and then you'd probably be able to make a 3D printed or whatever.
Yeah.
Not only do they have everything, you can literally buy planes on AliExpress. I got an ad for it yesterday, and in my oxycodone state, I'm like, oh, let's look at this. And I was literally looking at it. You can buy and I think it was like $40 million or something. Wait, let me pull it up because they literally have it. So if you want to buy a plane and test this all out for yourself, and you have a spare $40 million or something to do.
Which who doesn't, in fairness? Let's just throw that out there. If you've been listening to our financial advice for the last 6 months, you should have $40 million.
Yeah, 40 million won't cover it. You just need an extra 800 grand as well. So 40,800,000 and you're all good.
Perfect. Sounds
it's
like
a cargo jet though.
Okay.
But still, it's a plane.
Yeah, I mean, layout should be similar.
It's a 747, so potentially it does have this latch. So if you're on Alibaba, it says lead time 5 days.
Nice. It's not too bad at all.
If you got 40 million sitting by, you can you just got to make sure that you're the only problem is they're only got a 33.3% on-time delivery. So turns out that even though it's a 5-day, they do actually tend to be late 2/3 of the time. So
pretty bad. It's pretty bad. And then customs would hold it and you'd have to like pay import taxes and stuff. It's just going to be, a little bit complicated, but hey.
Yeah, I wonder what the customs process is on buying a plane.
That would be that would be fun. Sir, your plane has arrived. We need to talk to you. You owe us $8 million.
Also, can you like buy it and then take it back because it doesn't
Oh yeah,
suit your needs? What's the return policy on a plane? Asking for a friend, of course.
Obviously.
We should call Boeing and inquire about buying a plane and ask what the return policy is.
I would like to buy one plane, please.
Which one? One of them? I don't know. One of the big ones?
Yeah, get a nice big one, please.
They must get like all kinds of weird calls like that.
Oh, yeah, for sure. For sure. Yeah, I'm sure they get like lots of inquiries. I'd like to buy a plane for my son's 18th birthday. All right, that might be a bit of an excessive gift.
Yeah, so apparently this has been like a known thing that it says that suggested that technical media has been at pains not to discuss an alternative route access to the cockpit for years after a captain had locked a co-pilot out of the cockpit for several minutes. And then, yeah, so basically, it like, yeah, obviously for however long, they've known that you can just open.
I think if they've known for that long, they would do something about it and be like, okay, let's make it not accessible to the passenger, cabin. But there you go. It's good to know we're in safe hands and people are looking out for our best interests.
Yeah, it's good to know that you can't bring 101 mils of water on a plane, but
yeah. Yeah, you want to bring a bottle of water? No, you cannot.
You want to bring the bottle of water you bought from the store just there that is also inside the security system, the security of the airport. Unfortunately, you can't, but you're one piece of carpet away from accessing the server room of this plane.
Yep. Fearing travel has just become real again. All right. Things I learned today already. None of them I needed to know. So there you go.
All right. Well, on the airplane note, we have a very interesting story this week of now, let's say that you were a pilot of a commercial airline, and I mean, this story is almost thrown out because we know that it's so easy to get into that room. But anyway, where would you not rest your coffee before the flight?
Anywhere it's going to fall and destroy all the instruments on the plane, maybe.
So you wouldn't leave your coffee on the brakes, the brake controls?
I don't think I would. No, I think I'd probably be more cautious than that.
Now, let's say that you put your coffee on the brake controls and then you had a biscuit and you wanted to dunk it in your coffee.
Ah, yeah, okay.
Would it be wise to then take a photo and then post that on social media?
Always wise to post pictures on social media of things, of course.
SpiceJet, which I recently found out is the most, I think, I can't remember the wording, but it was like something to the effect of most hated or most least trusted airline in the world.
Nice. I mean, that takes a lot of effort.
Yeah. I mean, it's way outdone Ryanair even.
Yeah.
But essentially it's the Indian airline that is the most disliked, I guess. So two pilots decided to put these photos online with a cup of coffee on the break things. But they did it in celebration of the holy holiday, so Hindu festival of Holi.
There you go. If that's the case, then sure, it's all good. Just causing hundreds of thousands of pounds worth of damage. It's all good.
Yeah, well, I mean but they didn't cause any damage. They just took photos of it, and obviously,
Okay.
You shouldn't be you're not supposed to. A lot of, again, going back to a lot of crappy workplaces, even a 2-man office somehow has better standards of if you put your coffee next to your keyboard, they'd be like, why are you doing that? You could break out $5 keyboard.
It's true. Yeah.
But it turns out, you're in a workplace, you're not allowed to, it's very common in a lot of workplaces, you're not allowed to have food or drink even at your desk, let alone, or, at least put it on next to your keyboard or whatever, because those $5 keyboards could get broken. But it turns out under Indian aviation rules, pilots and crew can have food and beverages inside the cockpit.
That makes sense. Yeah, it's weird.
It does also say that last August, Air India flight overshot its destination after both pilots fell asleep.
That's what you want to hear. And pilots fell asleep, so they just kept going and missed the place. All right. Good news.
Yeah, this is a very reassuring episode.
Yeah. As I said, I'm flying for the first time in a couple of years in a couple of weeks' time, and now I'm going to be terrified. So thanks for that. I appreciate it.
We want to make sure you feel comfortable on your next flight.
Yeah. Thanks.
I think the best way would be if you bring your own sleeping bag, break into the IT room, and then sleep there, and then you can say that you are defending it. And
yeah, that's an option.
Well, I learned something about Ireland this week.
Oh, okay.
Firstly, how was your St. Patrick's Day?
I was pretty good, just took it nice and easy. Didn't go overboard or anything. Yeah, it's just a little bit of whiskey, a little bit of seeing the family, all that, nice and relaxed. All good. Not everyone had Paddy's Day like that, but that was myself.
No Guinness?
No Guinness this week. No.
Wow.
Yeah.
What would you say if I said, I'll have Pikey in the last?
Say that one more time. I got what you said.
I'll have Pikey in the last.
I've never heard that before. I don't think. Yeah, but is that something to do with
So is Pikey an offensive term in Ireland?
Yep. Yeah, it is. It means a member of the traveling community, or old school, like gypsies and stuff like that. It's a derogatory term. So there you go.
So yeah, what if I told you that there's literally an ad here with Shaquille O'Neal?
Okay.
Saying, I'll have Pikey in the last. And I didn't know that this was an offensive term. And then I heard it on something where they were talking about, oh yeah, this is like saying the N-word in Ireland. And
it's not. It's not. It's really only offensive to one minority group, and one very small minority group, and most other people don't actually care. But yeah. Like if someone called you a pikey, you'd be like, right, I'm gonna get you, man. So yeah. But yeah, good to know. Good to know they're using cultural
well, no,
references.
it's not because of that. It is actually a horse racing thing. There's a jockey whose last name is Pike, and his nickname is obviously Pikey, and then
I see.
nothing to do with that, but yeah, it's yeah, I heard someone saying how this was offensive in Ireland. Not that the ad was offensive, but they were talking about the term, like how you can't say pikey in Ireland, and then
I mean, yeah, I mean, I not like you wouldn't get too many people offended, to be honest with you. A handful might, but yeah, it wouldn't be that serious. But yeah, some people would be like, look at you a bit strange. What'd you say that for? Yeah, don't use it every day that you're here. Just like every second day or third day. Don't be like, calling everyone a pikey. That'd be get yourself in trouble eventually.
or just going out yelling, "Oh, I have pikey in law." All right. Well, what's your biggest turn off in a man?
I don't know, everything. His basic existence. So, yeah.
Well, this woman has some interesting turn-offs. So she says blokes who struggle to use their card on the tube is a big turn-off.
Okay.
She shared her bizarre list of icks, including men tying shoelaces.
Oh, how that is disgraceful. How dare they tie their shoelaces?
Blowing on hot food.
Okay, yeah. Accept the burn, my friends. That's what you got to do.
Carrying an umbrella.
I mean, yeah, I kind of get that one.
Buying toilet paper.
Yeah, everyone should just steal it. Don't know why people are buying it.
Somehow she has a long-term partner too.
All right, well, I feel like if there are, maybe he's learned these rules and things he's not allowed to do and just doesn't let her know when he's doing them.
But so. Yeah, they include running for the bus.
Okay.
Losing your balance on public transport.
All right.
Yeah, so if you tie your shoelaces in public, it's embarrassing.
Okay, so just leave them open. That's good. Just imagine this woman walking down the street, someone's tying their shoelaces, and she's like, "Oh, so disgusting." Such a turn off right now.
Yeah, she's just a wild weirdo. She says another ick is if when you're buying toilet paper and you have to walk back with a huge 16-pack of toilet paper. So it's not the actual buying of it, it's the carrying it to your car, I guess.
I mean, I don't know if she's aware of this, but everybody in the world does the thing that you need the toilet paper for. So it's probably like people are like, oh, good, that person's taking care of themselves and probably doesn't have it smelly arse. So it's all good. I don't know. People don't care that you're buying toilet paper. They're probably proud of you. So
especially your ass doctor.
Oh, 100%.
Now, a guy got his Tesco Clubcard tattooed on his arm. So how much do you reckon he scanned through his Clubcard as a dedicated fan like that?
Oh God, I don't know. It's $5,000 a year.
Now this is pretty amazing. that someone's been able to spend this much. He's managed to scam £18.
What? 18? Like 18? No.
Yeah, 18. So last summer, so I guess that's up in the air how long ago that was, but we'd say at least 6 months ago.
Sure.
Yeah, he's managed to spend £18.
And then he decided to get his club card tattoo on his arm.
Yeah.
All right.
He says I love the tattoo so much. And he says, sometimes when I go in there, the cashier doesn't believe it's real. I have to tell them, just scan it, please. And they're shocked.
Something that has happened once. Yeah, I feel like that's not a tattoo I would ever get, to be honest. I hope what Tesco's do is come out and be like, we're changing the club card program. You all have to get new cards because the old ones will not work anymore.
Well, that's the thing. Like, yeah, if you get this tattooed, there's no guarantee they're going to keep the same format.
Exactly.
And some guy in IT who's changing their QR codes is not going to be worrying about your crappy tattoo.
Yeah, it's going to be a little bit embarrassing in 20 years' time when you just have a tattoo of a defunct loyalty program for a supermarket. Do your tattoos have meanings? Oh yeah, they do. This one means I used to like shopping in Tesco's. Not anymore.
Not to mention QR codes are like,
yeah,
they've only been around for a short time. You can only imagine that eventually it's not going to be long until QR codes are no longer a thing.
True. Yeah. The next thing will come along, and then anyway. So good luck with your Tesco Clubcard tattoo and your £18 spent in 6 months. That's.
Well, I hope that at some point they like get rid of the QR code and somehow that gets replaced and like the new whatever someone buys, however it works, someone buys the thing that makes the QR code work and then sends it to Lemon Party or something like that.
That'll be fun, yeah. The thing is, like, I hope in 10 years' time we get to revisit this story because he's been like, my Tesco Clubcard tattoo won't work anymore.
Hackers have changed the QR code to.
I wonder though, did he get the tattoo thinking Tesco would like sponsor him in some way or be like, here's 1,000,000 points on your club card for your dedication to our program? And they're just like, that's weird.
Well, the thing is, if you're going to do that, like, you got to contact them first and find out first, not
Exactly.
get the tattoo and hope that they.
Yeah, exactly.
Also,
anyway.
Somewhere like Tesco probably isn't going to do that. Whereas.
Yeah. Yeah, so it was a waste of time me getting this tattoo. Dude, yeah. It's definitely going to work out poorly for that guy, I think. There you go.
Yeah, well, speaking of which, what would you do for $10?
For $10?
Yeah.
Fuck all. Yeah, I think I would not go out of my way to do anything. So I'm sure somebody had an interesting story.
Oh yeah. My best friend was in desperate need of money to clear his debts, and I had no idea how to help him. Okay. He had tried everything he could think of, but nothing seemed to be working. Then one day, something happened that I never expected. My friend was approached by someone who offered him $10 to eat a spoon of his own feces.
No.
At first, he was obviously very hesitant about it, and I could tell he was struggling to make a decision. But as the minutes ticked away and his desperation for money grew, he eventually decided to take up the offer. I was in shock and disbelief that he'd actually agreed to do something so disgusting and degrading. I could not believe he had gone to such lengths just to get the money he needed so desperately. I was also very angry at the person who had offered him the money. My friend tried to act like it was no big deal and told me he had no choice but to accept the offer. He said that the money would help him clear his debts and that he had to do whatever it took to get it.
No, it was $10. It's not going to make any difference. So yes, no, I'm not into that at all. Yeah, ouch.
It does say that my friend eventually cleared his debts and moved on with his life. I will never forget the experience, though, and I'm always thinking about it when I hear stories of people doing disgusting things for money.
Number one, it sounds like this person is looking up disgusting things people do for money. and also, I think, was this person present for the eating of the feces, or how for $10? Like, who will do something like that for $10? That is ridiculous, man. Yeah,
I'd do it for $9.50.
Do you want me to PayPal you the money, or? Yes, that is quite the disgusting thing to have to do. $10, man, that is crazy.
Yeah. Well, what's the most you've paid for a hooker?
I don't know. How much were you charging last time?
$9.50.
Exactly. So yeah, $9.50. No, I don't know. Probably not what people think. I don't know how much that would cost.
Well, my nephew was scammed by a young Vietnamese lady, and now I have some concern.
Okay.
I want to ask, has anyone caught their partners chatting up or following these Vietnamese girls, mostly sleazy-looking profiles showing them in actual photos of them clad minimally, just like a bra and a panty on TikTok? We're an old local couple, but recently I found all these sleazy Viet women sending connection requests to my partner's account. And I know men will mostly gladly accept them, which is what worries me the most. I remember having a younger married nephew who gotten scammed by a young Vietnamese woman and lost $100,000 in savings. The wife also left him because he spent time overnight with the Vietnamese woman, whom he knew also slept with several other men aside from him. So back to my question, should I remind my partner to be more careful on TikTok? To not make the same mistakes as my nephew?
No, they're his mistakes to make. Let him make them. That's his business. Yeah, it sounds like this woman has a real issue with Vietnamese women, and how they go about making money.
It says that the nephew was still quite young in his 20s. So how did he get $100,000 to lose to the?
Yeah, what's going on there? Yeah, that's
also like how old is she if she's worried her partner is gonna just leave her if they're an old couple?
Yeah. Maybe he's just a very attractive 70-year-old, heading off to Vietnam, pick up some Vietnamese ladies.
She does ask, if anything happened, how can old couple like us handle it? I feel very worried, but my partner doesn't seem to take any precautions and still happily accept their friend or follower requests.
Well, if it's just friend requests, you're okay. It's okay. That's probably nice and innocent. It's when he starts inviting them to stay for the weekend. That's when you got an issue.
Or giving them $100,000.
I mean, that's a red flag for sure. You should definitely watch out for that one. Yeah.
Now, this woman has got it figured out, though. She, so a wife, well, I'll just go into the story instead of reading the thing because I think it'll feel better. It was a Tuesday night. My wife and I had just finished dinner when she looked at me with a very serious expression. She'd been acting strange all day, but I had no idea what was coming. "I'm done with your cheating," she began.
Oh.
I've had enough of your excuses and lies. You're going to get fat so that I know you won't cheat on me.
All right. So you're gonna start eating cheeseburgers and chocolate cakes and stuff like that. And yeah, good times.
At first, I was in disbelief. Was she serious? Did she really think that by making me fat, I wouldn't cheat on her? I wanted to laugh, but I could tell from her expression that she was dead serious. She said, you're going to double your calorie intake and stop exercising. You're going to get fat and stay fat until I know that I can trust you.
Wow.
This is a healthy relationship.
This is so healthy. Yeah. This is fine.
Whoops. Clicked ahead. So I was in shock. I could not believe that she was serious, but I could see that she was. I had no choice but to agree. I knew that if I didn't, she would leave me. So he agreed to the plan.
Okay.
I had no idea how I was going to do it, but I knew I had to try. I started by eating more and cutting out exercise. I was already eating a lot, but I started eating even more. I gained over 15 kilos. I was fat.
Wow.
My wife was happy. She had succeeded in making me fat, and I was sure that I wouldn't and I was sure I wouldn't cheat on her, but I was wrong.
Okay.
Despite being fat, I still found ways to cheat on my wife. I started going out with my friends and meeting with women behind her back. I thought that because I was fat, she wouldn't be able to tell if I was cheating. I was wrong.
Okay. All right. Well.
She eventually found out and was understandably angry. She'd gone to all the trouble of making me fat and I'd still cheated on her. I felt terrible and promised to never do it again. I told her as long as she don't try to control me, I won't cheat. But she still controls me every now and then. My wife and I
every now and then.
My wife and I are still together, and I try my best to be faithful. I've since lost the weight. Which is
to
a very
celebrate. Guess what I did?
Well, he says I try my best. Well, but he's since lost the weight, so that does basically imply that I try my best.
He tried, but he was not successful in his task. But there you go. Yeah, I feel like maybe he should divulge his secrets. He's like, well, I was fat, and so I didn't think I would cheat, but guess what? Yeah, that's crazy.
I love the idea that, just being fat solves your cheating problems.
I love that, the wife is like, you know what? I'm sick of you cheating. You're going to get fat. No more cheating. It's like, you don't know. People might be into fat me. So,
but good. Isn't he therefore allowed to cheat because he's done what she asked?
He got fat, and he just took advantage of the situation then. But yeah, I mean, he shouldn't be cheating anyway. It shouldn't be he shouldn't have a record of how many times he's cheated. That's just being a dick. But what is she doing on the other hand? Maybe she's cheating or providing him with a reason to go and cheat with other people. I don't know.
Yeah. Or maybe the being fat just made him more horny and therefore he wanted to cheat more.
Maybe he got fat and he was feeling unhealthy, and his new the lady he cheated with was like, come on, let's have a protein shake. And let's have some vegetables. Oh yeah, great. And he was like, all right, I'm loving this. So then he slept with her just by mistake. So it's like, I meant to thank you, not sleep with you. Damn it. Let's get those two mixed up.
Well, this guy. So finally, this guy's in quite the conundrum.
Okay.
My wife and I got married 2 weeks ago. We're currently on our honeymoon and have 1 week left. We've been together for 2.5 years. Both of us had jobs where we traveled a lot, so we saw each other at random intervals.
Sure.
E.g., 2 weeks, a month, then nothing for a month, and then every weekend, etc. After 8 months, she got a new job that didn't require her to travel as much, but we still didn't want to jump head first, so she rented a place for 6 months, and then we moved in together.
Sure.
During the first 8 months, we slept together every time we saw each other, like a lot. But it was new and exciting, and we didn't see each other that often. When she moved, we slept at each other's place about every other night and hooked up at least twice a day. Then we moved in together, and I just assumed it'd either be the same amount or less, but it increased about 10 to 14 times a week, sometimes more.
There you go.
We're currently on our honeymoon, and I think my dick is going to fall off. Also, my jaw is hurting from going down on her so much to give my dick a break. How do I tell my wife I need a break without hurting her feelings? I'm afraid she's going to have a negative response or almost blame herself for not stopping before or not seeing any clues.
Yeah, you probably should have spotted this before you got married to her. But I think what you need to do is get her another boyfriend who can satisfy her properly, not be a little moany bitch about it.
You need to put on weight. And then she
just tomorrow morning be like, well, we're married now, so I'm just gonna let myself go. Just announce it at the breakfast table, and increase that calorie intake.
You need a new job as an arse doctor, and you need to then tell her I've been jacking off too much at work. So
that works. That works.
Or just complain about the trauma of all the arses you've seen at work today.
Yeah, that would be interesting. All right. Yeah, so I don't know. That feels to me like somebody who's written that story has actually just made it up to sound cool. And he's like going to tell all his friends, look at this story I wrote about me and my new wife. They're like, you don't have a wife. He's like, yeah, but I will. That's how it's going to go.
Yeah, I wonder some of these questions if they're just bragging or...
I feel like some of them, they're just people making it up. Like they must be.
Yeah, I mean, we never did get an answer as to why people become a arse doctor.
No, we need to put more research into that. Like interview some proctologists. Be like, so why? Did you have a fetish for arses or what? Yeah.
Well, this guy says, when I was a chief resident on a busy call night, we were in the operating room at 3 a.m. I saw one of my friends, a surgery resident, scrubbing. I went over and stood next to him and got to chatting while we were scrubbing. I asked him if he was applying to a fellowship. He said yes, a colon and rectal fellowship. I looked at him in surprise and said, what made you choose that? He said, mourning with his head at the trauma patient waiting for him to operate. No one goes through a windshield asshole first.
I mean, it depends what you're doing, but yeah, it's true. It's true. It's very rare that happens. So yeah.
One person said, I can think of 3 reasons. They could be intellectually fascinated by the complexities of the human digestive system.
Okay.
They may have actually had a very weird visceral fascination with the human rectum and everything associated with it.
Yep.
They may want a high-paying specialty that doesn't carry as much competition because a lot of doctors are too squeamish to take it on.
There you go. That's probably the most common one, I think.
I don't know. I think the wild, horny jacking off is...
Yeah, that too. Well,
there's even job postings and whatever where it talks about which is the right career for you.
Do you like jacking off to arses every day?
I feel like that should be in their job ad. Yeah. Our patients are 70% more attractive than the next hospital. Located next to 5 brothels and
exactly, yeah, good times. Awesome.
I mean, and also they would probably have times where they get to remove stuff from people's asses.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, absolutely. Souvenirs.
I wonder if that's their highlight of the day.
Just at a dinner party, just passing around. Guess what this is? Well, an 86-year-old had this stuck up his arse for 3 weeks.
After you've got them looking at it and they're already touching it.
yeah. Pass around. Everyone, like, right, just lick it and just see if you can guess what flavor this is supposed to be. It's an 85-year-old's arse. There you go. I didn't clean it after surgery, by the way. That's just how it came out of his arse.
At least if he died at work, they could say he died doing what he loved, dissecting an arse.
It's going to be very careful just in case we ever need such a doctor. And then they're like, hey, I saw your podcast. Oh, no. Yeah. Well, the greatest of respect, it just seems like kind of job where you'd be jacking off all the time. So,
as someone who frequently gets dildos stuck in their ass, I want to say that I have the utmost respect for ass doctors.
Indeed.
As someone with a penchant for experimenting with unique things inside their ass, I just want to take this moment to say that ass doctors are the highest quality of human.
They're definitely unique and unappreciated in many ways.
Pee hole doctors, though, they're scum.
That's a whole other speciality, yeah. You don't want to mess with those guys. Oh man! All right, well, we've got nightmares about planes, arse doctors, and
just make sure to look for that latch on the flight.
Yeah, absolutely. And then we got to worry about like future wives and girlfriends making me go get fat so I don't cheat on them. So it's all.
It's gonna be my excuse in future. Yeah. Put on the weight, but
Why are you fat? Well, my girlfriend really doesn't want me to cheat on her anymore. So.
And the doctor's like, "We should be losing weight, but sorry, I can't."
Yeah, I can't. Sorry, it's for the good of my relationship.
Gonna cheat if I don't. So.
Pass me that chocolate cake. Yeah, good times. Oh well, it could be worse. You could be that guy whose wife is demanding so much sex that he just can't handle it. What a life that'd be. Feel bad for that guy. But
going through hell.
Yeah, Anyways,
he's stuck on his honeymoon, can't operate on an ass. It's.
It's funny if that's what it was. That's what the job was. He has to travel around operating on arses all the time. It's just the arses I work on.
I fly all around the country to look at arses.
There you go. You know what? The wife is probably writing an article going, oh my God, I have to keep having all this sex with him just because we're married now and I'm kind of sick of him and he's really bad at going down on me and everything. So, but he does it so much. It's like, I should be thankful. And so it's communication is the key, guys. Communication. Talk to your wife and your boyfriends and your girlfriends.
And we'll buy a dildo.
I mean, that's one other way of doing it. So anyway, dude, I think we shall call it for this week. Try not to, get anything else stuck in your rectum, so you have to go to the hospital.
I can't make any promises.
I mean, look, you've been one experience, and then you have to do it again a second week. They wouldn't be happy with you, but take it easy and be careful with your drugs, and but enjoy yourself.
Yeah, you too.
All right. See you, man.